So, you're probably wondering why we haven't made a video in a while. And the reason why is because, number one, we are extremely busy with what I call the real non-YouTube world. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. And the other reason, of course, is the truck scenario that, yeah, you guys know about it. We should be getting it back tomorrow, and we're really excited about that. Right now, we are in Alexandria, right outside Washington, D.C. Wonderful hotel. It's absolutely wonderful. We had a wedding here, and the wedding was beautiful. It was marvelous, and here we are. Carol and I are going to drive around D.C. at night doing some, some video capture and stuff, and we want to take you along with us. I want to recommend this amazing hotel, Hilton Alexandria Old Town. If you're coming to DC, that's where you need to stay. Hilton Alexandria Old Town. Greatest Hilton property we have ever stayed at, by far. The most accommodating, friendliest staff in the world. And guys, I don't recommend, hotels that often, but this is it, man. This is one of the best Hilton properties we've ever stayed at. So we've been very blessed this trip. But our first task is trying to get out of here. And right now we cannot get out of the parking garage. We have no idea, so.
Okay, let's be honest. Over the past several years, DC isn't what I would call a typical vacation hotspot. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people visit the nation's capital for a variety of reasons. But for Carolyn and myself, the atmosphere hasn't been the best. Not for making videos. Well, not for making videos on our channel. Honestly, the atmosphere has been terrible. And no, I'm not getting political. And that's kind of my point. For reasons we can't quite explain, the atmosphere was lighter, less political. And let's be even more honest. These days, it's difficult visiting DC without thinking about politics. I've even tried to block out the current polarization of our society only to be reminded by other tourists. But this night was different. Again, we don't know why. Maybe it's because we weren't hearing people chanting their political rhetoric on either side of the aisle. Now listen, I believe that protesting is an important part of our democracy. But isn't it great to simply remember we're a part of an amazing country? I mean, we're not perfect and we've made some mistakes, but there are millions of people all over the world who want to live here, and there's a reason for that. Sometimes it's nice to remember why I'm, well, proud to be an American, as cheesy as that may sound. So I guess Carolyn and I were just having our own 4th of July, but without the summer heat and miserable crowds. You guys know how I feel about crowds.
So here's the situation. There is a cold front coming through. It's supposed to dump about 4 to 6 inches of snow down in Harrisonburg, where we live, which is about 2 hours away. But tonight it is warm in DC, especially for early March. Carol and I have decided nighttime is when you visit DC. I mean, we're kind of fortunate to be here when the weather is what it is. Yeah, I know it looks crowded, but trust me, it's a lot more crowded than this in the summertime. But in the evening, here in early March, man, this is when you can get up close and personal with all these amazing places that you see on television all the time. DC is a really cool place. So let me ask you, have you been to DC? And if you have, let us know in the comments. And if you've been to DC and you're like, an expert, a DC expert, give us some information. Tell us what we should be doing when we're in DC.
On this particular DC excursion, the Washington Monument was our favorite stop. This is the first time we visited DC in which we could get close to the monument. It's spectacular. The monument's marble blocks are held together by just gravity and friction. No mortar was used in the process. And the monument was the world's tallest building when it was dedicated. It's 555 feet tall. The Eiffel Tower soon replaced the monument as the world's tallest building, so its record didn't last too long. Now, the Washington Monument is a great focal point for DC and a great point for conspiracy theorists. After all, the Masons and the Pope were involved with the monument. They used Washington's Masonic symbols in the ceremony, and that was extremely controversial then, and it sort of is now, at least on YouTube videos. So much so that for 22 years, the project sat in limbo until Congress took it over in 1876. This lean, slender look wasn't the original concept either. This is the result of cost-cutting and making the monument more affordable. There are a lot of things to do in DC at night, especially in the summer. And it's not summer. In fact, the day after this adventure, we were greeted by heavy winds, snow, and ice. The drive back to Harrisonburg was pretty intense. March is kind of tricky in this part of the country, but I think in the late spring and early summer, a nighttime visit to DC would be amazing.
And of course, the only problem with filming at night here in DC is, of course, some of the shots are grainy, and that's kind of normal, especially when you're filming with a cell phone. But we're just shocked at how the atmosphere is different at nighttime, just the whole feel of the place. We've been to DC, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. We've made a couple of videos up here. Honestly, not all of our trips to DC have been wonderful. Some of them have been kind of negative. But the atmosphere here at night is just wonderful. And so we're like thinking about coming up here in the spring and, you know, later on in the year and renting the little scooters or something and just scooting our way all around here. Maybe during the cherry blossom festivals and things like that. It would be a lot of fun.
You know what? Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, is an amazing place to visit at night, and we had a great time. Be sure to check out the links in the description. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to click the like and subscribe button. My name is Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life. Hey, if you like this video, be sure to check out one of these videos.